Hey guys, this is Jesper from SchemaWriter, and in this video I'm going to show you the latest updates that we just rolled out. So this is a very large update to SchemaWriter, so I wrote this text here to help me remember. So let's go through it. The first thing that I want to talk about is fast mode. So if you've been using SchemaWriter for some time now, you know that generating a report can take a couple of minutes. Typically it takes 2 to 2.5 minutes. So let's say I want to create a report for link building training. And my company is Jesper Nissen, SEO. If I just want it to be fast and I don't want to spend time on scraping and finding entities, because that's what's time consuming, I can select this guy here, fast mode. So this creates the schema report without competition analysis and without entity scraping. And of course I still need to figure out the link. Let's see here, that is this is the target URL. So I still need to define the target URL here and click generate. So what will happen now, it will generate the schema report for this guy, including the local business and organization schema and web page schema, but it just won't generate the entity section, because that's what we're using the competition analysis for. So in a normal report, we're scraping the top 10 search results, and but that might be too time consuming to use, so that's why we generate it, or that's why we include it. That might be too time consuming for you, so that's why we chose to include this fast mode. So you can see that it took, let's say, it took perhaps 15-20 seconds. And when I click view this report, this is what it looks like. So it's basically the same. Of course, it's not the same because you don't have any abouts, you don't have any mentions, but you still do need you still do get the ranking keywords, because we still use the OpenAI prompts to generate various keywords, titles, descriptions, and whatever we use ChatGPT for. And we also still scrape the page content, but of course we can't show you the stuff on the right side because we didn't scrape the entities. So yeah, so use it for what it's worth. We also produce the FAQ content and the FAQ schema. But anyway, it's an option for you guys that want to generate fast reports. Use it for what you can. Next step is reports. So let me just generate a new report once more. Link building training. I don't want to use fast mode because I want to see the actual report here. Link building, and this is my target URL, and I will click generate. All right, so now that the full report for link building training is now done, I can click data here. So in case you didn't know, the data table in here, or the data section, is the accumulated report with all the data we have from the scraping of the top 10 search results. So you can see here Majestic, Editorial, Ahrefs, Link Builder, Udemy, CXL, academy.moz.com. And you can see the excluded domains that I have chosen to not include in my scraping, stuff like Wikipedia, Google, and Reddit, and so on and so forth. The reason that I exclude a lot of domains that you're looking at here is because YouTube is not ranking because it has good on-page SEO and schema. It's ranking because it's YouTube. Reddit is not ranking because it's good on-page. It's ranking because Reddit and Google has made a deal. So same thing with a lot of these websites. They're ranking because of a special purpose, or there's a reason why they're ranking, and that reason is not good on-page, good schema. So it doesn't matter what entities they have, so that's why I choose to include them. You can actually do it yourself over here in schema settings, and go down here to excluded domains and click save. Yeah, so let me just go back again. So when I click on graphs here, I can see the correlation analysis that we have performed. And what that tells me is that there seems to be a positive correlation for this keyword when it comes to the total amount of entities. So we know that the entity is a keyword that has its own page in Wikipedia, right? That's what we know. And the difference between the number of unique entities and the number of the total number of entities is that the unique entity is apple, orange, fruit. So these are 3 entities. The total number of entities is apple, 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 orange, orange, fruit. So that's 6. And let me show you what I mean. So the total entities for link building training is 114. So this page has used 114 total entities, but only 36 of them are unique. So you can see it has used pricing 3 times, backlink 30 times, digital marketing 2 times, and so on and so forth. So that's a total of 36 unique and 114 in total. And so same thing goes for all of these URLs. So what it means is that you can directly take a look at this graph and see. So linkbuilder.io used 351 total entities, and they used 91 different entities or unique entities. And what this means, this red line here, it means that there seems to be a correlation between the total number of entities in this text and the ranking position on page 1. In other words, the more total entities, the higher you rank. Same thing with the unique entities. The more unique entities you have, the higher you rank. That's a correlation, not a causation. So of course you do need to test this. But the new thing is that you can actually see these graphs here. So you have the data, you have the graphs, and the entity rank relation. I'll come to that. So we have the graph for word count. So you can see, does it matter how many words the text has? It seems so. Does it matter the entity density? The entity density, that's actually an interesting one. So how many entities per word count? And why is that important? Well, this is important because if you have a text of 10 words, obviously there's an upper limit of 10 entities, right? Because you only have 10 words. So if you compare a text to 10 words to a text with 1,000 words, the 1,000 word article will of course have more entities because it has 1,000 chances of having an entity, because each word can be an entity. So that's why we do need the entity density, meaning the entity per word count. The entity count per word count, that's what we are expressing here. And but for this particular keyword, it seems like that that's not a correlation factor, or it's not a positive correlation. So there's no correlation between higher entity density and ranking. That's just in other words, it means that if your text is only consisting of entities, it's not a ranking factor per se, because that's what this graph tells us. Unique keywords, that's the YAIC keywords, and the keyword density, the YAIC number of YAIC keywords per word count. That's what we're expressing here, and both have a positive correlation. So yeah, so last is, and this might be interesting for those of you that are using schemawriter. If you are using schemawriter to get input on how to write more relevant texts, you can actually see here that the entities that we have here are sorted according to correlation and rankings. So worksheet seems to be the highest, or the keyword with the highest correlation factor. So this seems to be the most important to have in your text for this keyword. Onboarding, organization, columnist, free software, web conferencing, Fortune 500, Google Maps, and so on and so forth. And you can find all of these. So all of these are, this table contains all of the entities that we find when we're doing this analysis. Of course, style guide is not important, typographical error is not so important, and so on and so forth. And so these guys up here on top seem to be the most important. Yeah, so I think this is extremely interesting. And one last thing I want to note is that when you're looking at these graphs and you see an outlier, for example, editorial seems to be an outlier because it has so many entities. We can actually exclude that from the calculation. And this is what the calculation looks like now. So a little bit more, I don't know, the results are a little bit more, you know, the same. We can actually include it again. And this is what it looks like before. But you can actually also choose to remove majestic. That's actually probably good. And now there's a much clearer correlation between the amount of entities. And it actually makes sense, right? Because majestic, we know majestic to be a super powerful domain. So it might be that the majestic domain is probably ranking because of the links it has, not so much because of the amount of entities. Let's see. Yeah, so the text is not super long here, so I would probably imagine that this guy is ranking because of the root domain authority, and it has a domain authority of 77. So yeah, that makes sense, right? So yeah, so that's a major update with this data table. I just think this is just fun. It's fun to just watch these numbers go up and down and play with this. So the next thing is the WordPress plugin. I'll just wait a little bit with that. Company info, we added new fields. So inside of company info, if you have a business that is of the food type, here, food establishment, bakery, bar, pub, brewery, coffee shop, and so on and so forth, we added new input fields. And those input fields are menu URL, URL for menu, and you can see it says menu over here, and it says accepts reservation, enter accepts reservation URL, reservation URL, and see this guy here, and serves cuisine. Then that's the dishes that you can actually serve in your restaurant. And that's what it looks like in the schema. So this is unique for the local business type that is food establishment, and it's one of our users that suggested this, and I'm glad to be able to help and be able to add specific schema fields that you need for your specific local business. So if you have something that you want us to include, then just reach out to me in Messenger or email. I prefer email, but just reach out to me and we'll try to add the fields that you suggest. But yeah, so this is for the food establishment type. And besides that, we also have these IsicV4 and Naics. And the, let me find it. Where is it? I'm a little bit blind. I can't see it. Where is it? Ah, here it is. Okay, so we have the IsicV4 and the Naics. So the IsicV4, that's the international standard of industrial classification of all economic activities. So that was difficult to say, but it's just, if you are super serious with your schema and you are super particular about all the details of your organization schema, you might want to include this because, well, you can go into schema.org. You can actually see here, and I can search for IsicV4, and this is the property. So that's what it says here. And I am sure that you can actually find something in Google or ChatGPT of your particular business type's IsicV4 value. I have no idea on what the values look like. It's not something that I'm using, but again, it's a request from one of our users, so we are happy to add that. Same thing with the Naics. I think the Naics code is more relevant for the North American schema writer users because it is the North American industry classification system. So this is a particular code that's used only if you live in the United States. Let's see here. So I think that this is more interesting for you if you live in the United States, because it might give you, but it will give you an advantage in the schema code anyway, because Google, it's one of these values that will make it disambiguous what your schema is about and what your business is about, right? So if you enter this value, it's totally unique to that business or type of business. Sitemap update. This is in the, let me just go to company info and search for Jesper Nielsen. Here. Edit. So sitemap. I have included the WordPress plugin in my, actually let me just check. Yeah, so I've included the schema writer plugin in my jespernielsen.com website. So what I can do is I can import from WordPress. And what that does is that, I don't know if you noticed, but it actually added 3 more lines here. So actually let me just jump out. Now I didn't click save, so let me jump in again. And then so you can notice what's going on here. Edit, sitemap. So you'll note that I have 40 entries down here, right? So when I click import from WordPress, it's immediately going out and visiting my website, and then it's fetching the sitemap. And then it's adding all of the new pages and products that I have on my website. And you see now it's showing 110 entries. So that's an interesting thing of using the WordPress plugin, and that's what I recommend, because you can simply click doot, and it just fetches the new stuff. So that's something, and let me just click save. So that's something that I recommend. Use the WordPress plugin, because that makes it easier to have an updated sitemap. Also, when you're creating reports now, when you click generate new, and when I select my company, what it does in the background is that because I have the WordPress plugin, it actually updates the sitemap dynamically here. So you don't have to go back to company info, update sitemap, and then go back here. So it actually updates it dynamically, but only because I have the WordPress plugin. So the WordPress plugin is the last thing that I want to talk about. And you can see my face is down here to the left. So I'm covering the button here. So let me click on WordPress. So in WordPress down here, you can actually see the 3 sites that I have connected to the schema writer backend here, the jespernielsen.com, schema writer, and Naics. So I don't want to click on that guy, because then it removes all of the plugin schema that I have uploaded. It does ask me, are you sure? And then I can say yes or no, but I don't want to do that. But anyway, so the way to install the schema writer plugin is to click on WordPress, click on download plugin version 1.52, and then you hop over to WordPress and install the plugin. What you then need to do is you need to find your business here, click edit here, and then you need to click on WordPress integration. Good. I'll just click here. I don't remember if we blurred the, so the license key is blurred. But anyway, so you need to insert the WordPress domain URL here, in this case Jesper Nielsen, and then the license key, and then you can, and then it's active. But you also need to, you actually need to go over to WordPress and then insert the license key there also. I did. Yeah, so that was a little bit bad explanation. I actually I did explain here how to do it. Download plugin, install in WordPress site, insert schema writer secret key in plugin in WordPress. And you can see the schema writer secret key by clicking here. I don't want to reveal that because that's my secret key. When it's installed, you're shown an API key in the plugin page. Copy this, go to schema writer, go to company info for the site you want to connect. Click on tab WordPress integration, paste in the license key. So this is how you install the WordPress plugin. Anyway, in the latest version of the WordPress plugin, you no longer need to go back to schema writer to download the zip file, we actually have this auto update. So enable auto update disable. So that's a huge feature for those of us that are using WordPress. So you just install it and then enable auto update. So it's automatically updated for you. Whenever we deploy a new version of the WordPress plugin, it's automatically updated in your WordPress website. So one of the major things besides the auto update in this version is that we can actually disable other SEO plugin schemas. So I can click on this guy, this guy, this guy, save changes. And what this means is that if I am using Yoast SEO, I am not, but if I am, we programmatically, automatically in the background remove all schema from Yoast, because if you are using WordPress and you are using schema.org to test the schema on your WordPress pages, you will be annoyed at all of the times that you're seeing schema and you don't know where it's coming from, and then it's coming from some random plugin. So we found the most common plugins here, and then we chose to do like this, so you can remove schema from Rank Math, SEO Press, Slim SEO, All-in-One SEO, Yoast, and also Elementor theme and the WordPress theme, the basic WordPress theme. So yeah, I think this is super nice, and I'm super happy that we implemented this, because it saves me time from removing schema or figuring out where do I remove schema. So now we just did it for you and for me and for all of us. So yeah, so these are the changes. As I warned you, it's a little bit longer video than usual. Let me just see if I forgot anything. No, yeah. So it seems like I explained everything. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.